Paul's message everyone has studied. He preached the gospel. For I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. The secret to how Paul, the greatest preacher, he's our model as a preacher. This is why so much is given about his life in Acts and most of the epistles written by him. The Lord wants us to study him. His message was the gospel. He didn't preach the law, he preached the gospel. He preached the law to bring conviction, but immediately he gave the balm, the medicine of the gospel, because the law alone just kills. Might bring conviction, but it just leaves people lying in their misery and weakness. His methodology was he was guided by the Holy Spirit. He had no 24-month plan. He had no computers. You never knew where he would be. He was a lot like Jesus. You never knew where Jesus would go or be or do because he was led by the Father's direction. So you never knew how long Paul would be in any city. Paul didn't know how long. He didn't know where he'd be arrested, where he'd be thrown in jail, where he might be stoned, where he would be kicked out. And he told, and Jesus did tell the disciples they would be kicked out of some places, even though they were anointed, even though they were doing God's work. You can be in the center of God's will and still get kicked out of certain places. But his methodology was, he wanted to go into Asia to preach the gospel, but the Spirit of Jesus forbade him. Then he tried to go to Bithynia, but the Spirit would not permit him. And then he got the Macedonian call. He couldn't even go where he wanted to preach the gospel. Pastors, if you seek God, what he wants you to preach this Sunday, it'd be a lot better than by sticking to some mechanical preaching plan. Because only God knows what your congregation needs, and only God knows what the devil is trying to already, while I'm speaking, trying to bring into your church. And once it breaks out, when you preach against it, everyone will say, oh, he's preaching because there's this problem of gossip or whatever.